Britain's pubs are 10 times more important than meet the eye. I want to make a really brief point on this, and something which we've mentioned in a couple of passing videos, but not as a point within itself. Pubs provide an excuse for people to be together, and our older generations are a prime example of this and the repercussions of pubs dying. You see, men, and it doesn't just apply to men, but mainly men, do not go up to other men and say, "Can I have some company, please?" They need an excuse to keep their pride, to keep their stoicism, to pretend that everything's going okay whilst knowing that it's not. And that was a fundamentally important part of what the public house provided. You could come in and nurse a drink, even if you only had a few quid on you. You could nurse that drink for hours just to be around other people. And now if you can imagine the elderly, who don't know how to use technology, who don't understand this world that we're in. They can barely afford to stop in the pub, never mind connect with the pubs that are now there for them, these gastros, these modern bars. Council estate pubs are a prime example of this. They were originally built in planning schemes to facilitate people of low income so that they could still socialise and be among each other, so they could just nurse a pint. It really wasn't about the strength of alcohol. That's a new thing. People go out to drink now. Drinking was just part of the social scheme in previous centuries. Alcohol is a lot stronger these days. For thousands of years, the only way that we actually had to socialise were churches or public houses. And this then says to us that the public house wasn't just important for social environments, but it's historically important and makes up who and what we are. Now, if you can imagine, and like I was saying with the council estates, I mean, if you look in Pimlico, it's a good example, Rollo and Doddington, some of these estates now, the pubs have become very flash, borderline yuppie, and they are now the polar opposite to what they were built for. They were built so that you, as a poor person, didn't have to sit alone all night. But now the poor people either can't afford to go in there or don't feel comfortable in there. It's the complete opposite of what they were created for. And if you can imagine, if you are, whether you're elderly or otherwise, if there's no televisions, there's no phones and everything, you really are going to go mad from loneliness. And just sitting in a room with other voices is enough to save you from manic depression. The public houses weren't just a reason to socialise, they were the difference between some people being alone, going insane, and having that much needed form of social interaction which helped them see through the hardships of their life. Just sitting with a paper, we've all seen it, the old boys with the paper, with the smart jackets on a Saturday or a Sunday, maybe in the week, and they'll be sat in the corner minding their own business, because they don't really care for the telly. They care for human beings being around them, and it reminds them they exist. If all you have is a TV, who's to say you even exist? You're living in someone else's fiction. Only by going down to the local public house could you even remember that you was you and the people around you were really there. And I think that too many of us are too quick to enjoy the changing of the pub scene. Yeah, gastros, bars. Too many people look at pubs today as if they were nightclubs, you know? And I think that's a crying, crying shame. Yes, the cost of pubs, the cost of alcohol now is unbelievable, but that's because we have serious issues within our economy to face. The pubs, the social nature, like our history, is just as important as anything else, and in my humble opinion, the economy pales in insignificance to something as important as what makes us, us, and what will keep us, us, going into the future. So the next time you snub a pub or a fuddy-duddy environment, remember that that has been around a lot longer than you, and it was always the difference between loneliness and contentness. I'll see you soon. You take care.